Oh, hi. It's been a while. It's been a long fucking while. But you know what? We've just gotten confirmation that the Boston Bruins have officially announced their 2023-2024 rookie camp roster. And I think you know what that means. Hockey's just around the fucking corner.
Weren't you supposed to have like 13 videos out in the meantime?
Yeah, I know I'm a serial procrastinator, Logan. You don't need to fucking point that out every single...
Where's the hype video, dipshit?
My guy, can you calm the fuck down, please? I'm trying to get through the thing.
No, shut the fuck up. Get more videos out. You lazy fuck.
Logan, I swear to God, if you do not just shut the fuck up and let me get through this video, I'm going to rip out every single stitch in your body and feed you to a fucking German Shepherd. You got me?
Okay, I'll stop.
Good, Logan. Logan gets to live another day. Sorry about that. In any case, as part of their Centennial season, the Bruins have put out their Centennial, their 100 greatest Bruins, and I'm gonna get to that eventually. But we're first going to go over the 2023-2024 rookie camp roster. Take it over from here, me from the desk.
Why, thank you, me from the bed.
That shark of yours. Keep him under control. In any case, this is the Bruins 2023-2024 rookie camp roster. In terms of forwards, we have a few notable names that we've been hearing about for a few years at this point. Defensemen you also have a few names that you've been hearing for at least a little bit. I got to see a good chunk of these guys when I went to dev camp. That's a video that I was going to make, but I never ended up making it because, executive functioning disorder go burr. But forwards, let's go through them. Joey Abate, Johnny Beecher, Julian Belland, John Farinacci, Ty Haliburta, Curtis Hall, Brett Harrison, Trevor Kuntar, Fabian Lysell, Adam Machura, Georgi Merkulov, Owen Peterson, Matthew Patra, and Luke Toporowski. Defensemen: Frederick Burnett, Mike Callahan, Jackson Edward, Mason Lohrei, Ryan Mast, Ethan Ritchie, Graydon Siteman, and Blake Smith. And goaltenders, both of which are on an invite: William Rousseau and Samuel Saint-Hilaire. So what do I think about this? I think, honestly, the forwards are going to be the ones that we're going to be looking at the most. Now, of all things in the offseason, our forward core definitely got shifted around the most. I mean, defense, the only thing that we really lost was Connor Clifton. And $3 million more of our cap space is to Derek Forbort. That's all that we lost. Goaltenders, we got both of them back. We got the Swaymark tandem back. Forwards are the only thing that we really struck out on. And we ended up losing Bergeron, Krejci, and we also ended up losing Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno in that trade to Chicago. And we also ended up losing, I think we also ended up losing Tomas Nosek to free agency. I still don't know where he signed. But that means that we're going to have a bunch of young forwards potentially definitely trying to make their mark and get into and potentially make a starting roster and potentially make the starting roster. Now, granted, the most notable names are not necessarily the ones that are going to be on the ones that we see come October 11th. One of the biggest names that we've been hearing over the past few years was Mark McLaughlin. He was supposed to have a fantastic. He was supposed to make the team out of rookie camp this past season, and he didn't. He ended up being not. He ended up not really being all that effective when he was on the ice. As much as I love him, he just was not effective, and it kind of felt like, damn, all this hype for that. But but in terms of the players that we have here, this should be an absolute clinic for Beecher, Lysell, Merkelov, and Toporowski. I think honestly, players that might end up surprising us. I want to say Kuntar and Patra. I think Patra is sort of the guy that we've been saying that we're starting to say, okay, there's a slight chance that at some point in like March we might see him in the NHL, which would be amazing. It would be incredible if we saw him in March up in Boston. But who knows? Who knows? Ultimately, this is going to be for Beecher, Lysell, Merkelov, and Toporowski. I think all of them are definitely going to make their debuts this coming season, and I think at least one of them is going to find their spot permanently on the Bruins roster. I think that is nearly a foregone conclusion. I think that Beecher has the size and speed in order to actually move, and he has the size and speed that is necessary for a top 6 forward to have in this day and age. The one thing that he doesn't really have is the scoring touch. There's also been some concerns as to whether or not he's able to use all 6'4" of himself, but really the scoring touch is the one thing that is that people still have hang-ups on. We can even look it up. You can see that Beecher doesn't necessarily have that much of a scoring touch. The most amount of goals he's ever gotten in a season is 17. And for what's supposed to be a top 6 center coming out of the draft in 2019, that's not exactly great. Now, I still think that putting him on the top line with Marchand and DeBrusk for at least some point in the season. I am not saying, I do not propagandize about Beecher 1C in order to try and say that we should have him at top line center the entire season. I'm saying that it's an experiment that we should try in order to squeeze any kind of scoring that we can out of Johnny Beecher. Because he deserves some recognition. He deserves a spot on this roster. He has been in the system for a while. He's been here since 2019, and I think honestly, if he can develop scoring, he's going to be golden. He's going to be amazing. Lysell, honestly, he is the sole reason why I still have even the slightest bit of hope in our prospect development. I think Lysell is fantastic. This is a guy who you could conceivably see in the top 6 of a freaking Stanley Cup contender. He has incredible puck handling. I went to dev camp. I remember. I don't know if I mentioned that. I mean, I do remember mentioning that. I'm just saying that for comedy's sake. Hey, Lysell, he was in a non-contact jersey, so you can do with that information what you will. But the point is during the exercise where they put a bunch of players in the middle of a square with a bunch of pucks to try and test puck handling, even in a non-contact jersey, after sustaining a concussion, Lysell was holding onto the puck for like a minute and a half before getting knocked out. He was incredible. I think he has a sophisticated shot. He has incredible puck handling. He has great feet work. I could see him making the team out of rookie camp. Merkulov, I love. Merkulov has been incredible. Also, great puck handling. Also, great footwork. Also, a great shot. Except I could see him potentially making the team probably sometime by Thanksgiving. I don't see him being like shoved into our pockets until the All-Star break. I could see him making at least one appearance before Thanksgiving. As for Toporowski is kind of a box standard bottom six forward. He's efficient. He has a decent defensive game. I think Toporowski might be someone like Steen, who we see a few times in the season, but not too much. Now, on to defensemen. There's only one player here that anyone thinks is going to make it out of camp, and there's only one player that really should make it out of camp, Mason Lohrei. Mason Lohrei is basically defenseman version of Tage Thompson. Hi, Loqual. Thank you for laughing at me laughing at you having a really, really bad Tage Thompson take. Lohrei, insanely tall, at 6'4". He is a fantastic two-way defenseman, and I think honestly you could potentially see him in the bottom four at some point in the first month of the season. I think Lohrei is going to be great. Ryan Mast, I'd say is potentially one of those players that you kind of want to look out for. Just see maybe will he make it out. I don't think he will, but he's been here long enough. If he has chops. It's just that maybe the development has gone on a little bit too long. He might not make it. He might not make it out. He might. I wouldn't be surprised either way. Jackson Edward shocked me at Dev Camp because this kid, he didn't have everything in the toolbox, but he still had the toolbox, and holy crap did he work with what he had. The only player I saw at Dev Camp actually trying to throw a hit, and for a 7th round pick of a defenseman, that's gonna be for him to be making those sort of strides is when the floor is that low. That's kind of impressive. Callahan and Burnett, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about them. I also do not know anything about the players attending on invite basis. I'm sorry. I did not really do much research before this video. I kind of just took a shower and after classes, and I'm tired. But my full predictions you can really I'll really just boil it down to this. Lysell and Lohrei are making it out of making the team out of camp. Beecher and Merkulov, you can see before Beecher and Merkulov we're going to see before the All-Star break. Toporowski and Mast you might see after the All-Star break, and Patra you might not see until March. You might not see at all. You might not see at all. But if you don't see him at all, you could potentially see, we're probably going to start him next season. That's really it. That's really all we have for the. That's really all there is for rookie camp. I don't really know what else needs to be said here, other than actually the Centennial roster. Is one last thing to round out the end of the video. Let's go through this historic 100. Honestly, there is only one thing that I am kind of on the fence about. I don't know why Kessel is here. I really do not understand why Phil Kessel is here. You could potentially swap him out for, I don't know, freaking. You could potentially swap him out for fucking Sagan. You could swap him out for Sagan and it'd be just fine. Hell, you could even swap him out for Swayman. Swayman honestly would have been just as good as Kessel, if not a little bit better, because don't get me wrong, I love Phil Kessel. Phil Kessel is fantastic, and I love his shit, but I don't understand why he's on the historic 100. Everybody else, honestly, I'm fine with. Mike Milbury with the fucking shoe. We do have Bork, Boychuk, Busick. My favorite player of all time, and Patrice Bergeron, and Chara Achievers, Clapper, Cashman, and you got a bunch of cool players that you might know that I don't. I do love the love that they gave to Nathan Horton. Nathan Horton, and honestly, still one of the most tragic stories in NHL history, and I still fucking hate Aaron Rome for that. I'm a little bit surprised that McAvoy made it, just because he joined just because he's so recent, but he deserves it. He deserves to be on here. Other than that, yeah, there's nothing really else. And that's going to do it for this episode of whatever the hell this is. We will be back with not only the hype video, which is just going to be adapted for 2020, which is just going to be a hype video for 2023, 2024. Fuck it, why not? But I'm not going through the trouble of editing everything from back last season to that was supposed to be true before the playoffs to fit it, because I am so freaking lazy that if I do that, then that video is never gonna be fucking finished. So there's that. There's not just that. There's also an intro video for 2020, for 2023, 2024. Not gonna be like the Steve Dangle intros where it's just like where it's gonna show at the beginning of every single video. It's just gonna be a cute little channel trailer. So there's those two, and finally we're gonna have one last video, probably on either October 9th or 10th, and that is going to be a breakdown of the Bruins opening night roster and my thoughts on the team this season. Spoiler alert, I think that we're going to take a step back, but it's not going to be as catastrophic as doomsayers say it is. But that's really it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys probably in a month. Who knows? Take care.